So this is my normal piece of hypocrisy. I get up in the morning by 5:30, usually 5:20. I'm out the door by 5:10, usually at the latest 5:15. Sometimes before, 6:15, sometimes before 6 o'clock. And my goal is to get to the first small town where ideally they have a panaderia. If not one of those, a bakery, then something else where they serve this pastry that looks like a wrap, and there's chocolate inside from front end to back end, like a hot dog. And then this one has a lot more chocolate on the outside, just to make sure you get the point. And sometimes I may have one or two of these. I'll stop and grab one, maybe drink a agua con gas while I'm walking or while I'm standing at the bar, and then start walking. This may be my first view of the cathedral as I perhaps approach it. I think it is. Here an allusion to the relatively narrow, tall buildings, relatively speaking, of the original Camino de Santiago. Whether this is fact or whether it's been created this way, I don't know. So this sign, Porta do Camino, probably represents that this is the street going through the city wall. And the street behind me may be what was once the city wall outline. Partly past an old church less than a block away from the cathedral. Looks like it's been abandoned since there are plants growing on the rooftop, but maybe not. And if there was stained glass, it's gone now. Some kind of impressive building. Don't know what it is. I think the Camino Porto is there. So here is the cathedral from some vantage point. I'm not quite sure yet. Still walking in. I'm standing on the staircase of the first building we looked at a moment ago. And this is its pretty garden. The rockwork looks old because of the high humidity in this. That first building I looked at, that one there, may be the albergue or hospederia municipal. Here it's hospederia or hospederia seminario. Now this is where I think you come as the final point of the hike on the Camino, and it's in front of this entrance of the cathedral. So I'll pan the square from opposite this side of the square, opposite from the entrance to the cathedral. The tour buses will arrive soon enough. So I'm now over at the far right side of the cathedral face that we were looking at, and panning down so that we can pan about the entire square from here. And my goal today is simply severalfold. One, as soon as I'm done here, I'll go over and find the tourist office and find out about the route to Finisterre and Muscia. Also see if I can get to Lugo from here easily and back as a day trip. See the Roman walls. I want to find a private albergue, and I want to, of course, find, for me, the arrival there is anticlimactic, mainly because, to quote the early Apple bumper sticker, the journey is the reward. To me, all that went on in the long hike is what was worth something. Just getting here is, I'm actually glad that I have 4 or 5 more days to hike out to Finisterre and Muscia, because it seems like this is ending just when I'm getting really in good condition and getting used to just walking it. So now I'm to the far right side of the cathedral, towards the far side from where I was. So this would be the farthest to the right of the right side, if you're getting my drift. And To my left here, literally, is the Museum of the Pedigree. So where we were, I believe, is Plaque Doiro, which is to the left, right where it says the arrow ends up from Cathedral. We've walked down and to the right, and now we're back in what I'm guessing must be Plaque de something or other. I'll show it to you, the back of the cathedral. So there's where I came around what was the right side as we were initially facing the cathedral, and now I should be behind it. I'll scan the uppermost towers first. And now swinging back to the cathedral proper. And this is an absolutely dead quiet square, so it must be the one in the back. So this is a device that you would use to buy things from the nuns who cannot talk to you, particularly men. They can still be private, and you could contact them there in the electronic world, but then they put their food on there, whatever you're going to buy from them, cookies or whatever they sell. Here we're paralleling the Camino. Now we're back with the trail again through Palais de Rey, Palace of the King. This part I would have done it in the dark, so I don't remember any of it. Most of what I've seen as we go back towards Lugo, I don't recognize. Less than a block away, almost immediately adjacent to the bus station, is the first portal of the walls. These are apparently the finest example of Roman wall construction, not only in Spain, but probably in Europe. Here a small park, giving us a little bit of an idea of the Roman soldier. A pretty little spot. So we'll go inside the walls and then very quickly go up on top and walk them for about 2+ kilometers. Since my primary first goal is to walk around the walls in a counterclockwise manner in the hopes that way I will encounter the cathedral last and visit that after I've walked the walls. So I'll just continue walking around here until I find and seek and ye shall find a water fountain, which will probably be all over the town, and then here's stairways going up to the wall. So this is the direction we'll take in a counterclockwise way. There are quite a number, I think 48 towers and turrets here, some of which, one called Mosquiera, still is the most original with all of its original ports. This is used as a bike path, a walk path, as well as a tourist path. And as a postscript, for some reason, yesterday afternoon and particularly this morning, my right hip is absolutely killing me, almost to the point of crippling. I think what's happened is that after 30 days of walking almost every day almost, with the exception perhaps of 3, with poles hard, my hip's going, hey, what's with no... So my hope is that with half of Vicodin and Carasprotol and a couple Advil and a bunch of walking, I can work it back out. So here we have a couple of portals that may still be original. They look rather... It's fun to have this vantage point of this older kind of classical northern Spain architecture with those beautiful balconies that I just love, and these lovely slate roofs with their moss. Here we can see a more modern one. Notice how it is cleverly held together at the top for weather protection and as a way of holding it there. So I'm just looking for interesting things as I walk about this town. Wonder if these were simply semicircular walls like they are now, or whether these were truly towers. And having asked that question, as we walk just a little bit farther, it's clear that this particular walled one is much higher.